Hi, this is Pastor So-and-so. I just want to talk about the pastors in the area about recent experiences and ideas related to outsourcing essential church functions in your setup. Now, if you can get your hands on a van load of Bangladeshis, you're going to have a situation that's pretty good. You've got very low overhead. Keep plenty of soup handy to feed them. Get them working on your bathrooms, get the place spick and span. Start training them for a prayer line. You want to teach them how to say, God bless you, I'll pray for you, here's the address where you can send your money. If you can get them to at least say that much, you've got some conversation starters. And then just teach them to say amen. You know, if they don't understand what the people's saying on the phone, they just nod, say amen, amen, amen until the other person hangs up. But you want to get the offering in first. So put them aggressively on the front end of the conversation. Make sure they can say the address of your church where they need to send their checks in. Now, we do have a couple situations with the Bangladeshis. I'll tell you, you need to keep them under lock and key. You can't just have them running around. Number one, the police know that in this area there are not that many foreigners. And so you got them wandering around the parking lot or whatever, that looks suspicious. And like I said, I tried to convince the police that we was having a revival, but when they found out that Bangladeshis could speak like English, and I tried to tell them we were talking to them on tongues, they just didn't believe me at all. Then we had a Bangladeshi escape, and I actually went out and chased him down, and did end up finding him. But when I got back, I'd left the 99 to get the one. When I got back, the 99 had stolen all the silverware and the 4K TV. The church was just gutted of all the valuables, and they made it as far as Nevada before they were caught. And so I'm now looking for a new batch. And before we do that, we're gonna have to get some fencing down in the basement and a better padlock. Now, when you start outsourcing functions in your church, you are going to deal with resistance to change, because you are going to make people feel like they are not as wanted. So what I like to do before I implement any big changes like this in the congregation is I'll preach about 7 or 8 messages, 7 or 8 week series of message on humility and submission to the pastor. And I get small groups doing books on spiritual authority, and get them talking about their feelings about spiritual authority, so that the ones who might voice something contrary can be identified early, and we can get them out the door before they create a hubbub in the church when I want to roll out the new changes. So that's one thing, is prepare your congregation for transformation and change by preaching on humility and getting them talking in the small groups. Small groups can be a great tool to expose the dissenters. And then when you do start outsourcing and you start to lose people who feel like they're not useful anymore, you do need to have an awards ceremony or something, where give them a dinner. Do what you can to make them feel like, you know, you really appreciate their years of service and everything, because you don't want them all leaving all at once. You want them trickling out the door one by one. So try to stagger it out in the schedule, so you do one award ceremony at a time over the next couple, months, so that when they leave, it's not so noticeable. It'll just be a gradual exodus. And, and during that time, you can kind of marginalize them and make sure everybody knows that they had a problem with your authority, or whatever you need to say to make sure that everybody knows the problem's on them and not on you. Otherwise, the whole congregation could rise up against you, go out the door down to one of them antinomian grace places. So, keep your James 2 handy. Faith without works sure does cover a multitude of issues. Faith without works is dead. Even demons believe and tremble. You can use those for almost any situation and get people rattling in their conscience. Alright, well, keep your eyes out for van loads of Bangladeshis. They're the cheapest ones around. Talk to you later.